if you were to ask me about my all-time favorite video game franchise, it would undoubtedly be the Souls franchise. The allure lies significantly in the intricate worlds that serve as the foundation for these games. The design choices and distinctive styles showcased in titles such as Dark Souls, Demon Souls, BloodBorne, Elden Ring, and others are truly captivating. Each game possesses a unique aesthetic that sets it apart, creating a sense of pristine beauty. Despite the variations in style, the Souls games share a common thematic theme. They unfold in fractured and troubled worlds. These worlds depict struggle and suffering, yet within the adversity portrayed in the Souls series worlds, there exists a peculiar and broken beauty within them. I'll never forget the first time I saw the incredible view of Aerithel in Dark Souls 3, or the first time seeing the Lanedale Royal Capital in Elden Ring. In gaming, where challenge meets artistry, there are few worlds that we find ourselves drawn into landscapes of despair, facing trials that test our patience, and yet, within the punishing difficulty lies a peculiar beauty. In some of the Souls games, the atmosphere is very grim and haunting, but these grim atmospheres create a sense of mystery and intrigue. Your curiosity leaves you unraveling the secrets behind the dark and foreboding lore, encouraging exploration and discovery. The somber tone and grim aesthetic also evoke a range of emotions from tension and fear to awe and melancholy. There is this hidden beauty woven into every pixel, every note of the soundtrack, and every twist of the lore, a shattered elegance found within the Soul games. If you have played any of the Soul games, you realize that you're in for one hell of a ride. For not only the gameplay that will make you want to smash your head through the wall, but the overall unique vision these games provide. It becomes clear that the Soul games are not merely a venture into challenging gameplay, but a journey guided by a distinct artistic vision. Visionaries like Hidetaki Miyazaki, who plays a key role in creating the immersive worlds we experience, with the art direction being a crucial aspect. Each installment in the Soul games pantheon boasts its unique aesthetic, carving out a visual identity that distinguishes from its predecessors. Demon Souls with its haunting medieval architecture, Dark Souls with its oppressive gothic landscapes, BloodBorne with shrouded in Victorian horror, and Sekiro steeped in the elegance of feudal Japan, each being a masterpiece in its own right. You begin to question yourself, how can someone put so much detail and design into these breathtaking landscapes? In 2015, upon the release of BloodBorne, Hidetaki Miyazaki participated in an interview with The Guardian. During the discussion, Miyazaki revealed that as a part of the team's research for BloodBorne's architecture, they traveled to Romania and the Czech Republic. The purpose of this travel was to draw inspiration from the distinct architectural styles and designs offered by the locations, influencing the creation of the game's immersive environment. In fact, during an interview with Wired, Miyazaki explains that during his childhood, he was exposed to a lot of Western fantasy novels, influencing the European visual style seen in some of the Dark Souls games. As he pursued a career in game development, opportunities to travel abroad allowed him to witness European buildings, landmarks, and churches firsthand, which further influenced his creative process. In these games, the landscapes you traverse through are not just backdrops, but flat out are characterized in their own right. The crumbling spires of Lordran, the twisted alleys of Yharnam, or the serene vistas of Ashina, the environmental design is a symphony that sets the stage. These worlds are not just static, but they breathe and evolve. And it shows. FromSoftware with every new release is able to make a new stunning world for players to explore. But it's not just the world, but the player themselves. Right off the bat, boom, you're able to make a new character, allowing you to choose how you want to be portrayed in the world. But it's not just that. but the attire the characters are dressed in. In the world of FromSoftware's Soul games, attire is not merely a visual aspect, it's a language that communicates the character's history, status, and journey. Examining the details of each character's attire unveils a narrative within itself. A tattered cloak may signify a lone wanderer traveling through desolate lands, while big heavy armor with sigils may hint at a knight's noble lineage. From the flowing robes of Eastern-influenced characters in Sekiro to the blood-soaked garments of hunters in BloodBorne, the attire serves as a cultural artifact, grounding the characters in the respective worlds. And as you explore through more of these worlds, you begin to see more memorable characters throughout your playthrough, each a visual testament to the creativity embedded in the Soul games, whether that be the menacing presence of Artorias or the depressing presence of Father G. You begin to see the tapestry of the visual storytelling each one of these games shows. That is, if you know what the hell is going on. That's the thing about these games, is that you never know what the hell's going on. Let's take BloodBorne for example. The game starts off with you laying down on some type of table, while an old man just approaches you, laughing and telling you,
"Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream."
You then make your character and are given the title of a hunter.
You found yourself a hunter.
You then spawn in Yusefka's clinic and are allowed to explore from there. No hand-holding, no babysitting, just try to fight that big-ass werewolf in the room. Only for you to die and respawn in the hunter's dream, where you can get your weapons like the game intends you to. You then return to defeat the wolf and open the gates to Yharnam, a place so eerie with gothic vibes. Every person is aggressive and tries to kill you, but when you kill them, they call you
Cursed beast.
As you play more of the game and explore, you begin to have questions, like why am I called a beast? Why does the city look so grim and worn down? Why do the people here hate me? Is there a reason why the city has so many monsters? And what exactly is a hunt? The Soul games are infamous for never having a straightforward story. They're usually very obscure and cryptic. They don't really have direct narrative storytelling, but instead have environmental storytelling. The player is meant to discover small bits and pieces of the story throughout their journey. A hidden journal under a bed, or cryptic dialogue told by some random NPC locked in a dungeon, or the small cutscenes the player comes across throughout the game. The lore is revealed through cryptic item descriptions, environmental cues, and the stories of NPCs, encouraging players to actively participate in uncovering the rich narrative. Now, many have criticized FromSoftware by going down this route of storytelling due to confusion and complication, but personally, I think it sort of works. Now, sometimes, yes, it can be a bit confusing, and after your playthrough, you just end up looking up a story explained video on YouTube. But what I like about this type of storytelling is that it challenges players to navigate hidden areas and understand the spatial intricacies while reinforcing the idea that every corner, every alleyway is a piece of a larger puzzle. Helping that random NPC might help you get a better understanding behind the lore. Miyazaki has stated in the past, "I'm a fan of stories that require you to use a little bit of your imagination in order to really understand the whole thing." When I was young, I used to enjoy reading books that were too hard for me, where I could only read maybe half the kanji and using my imagination to fill in the gaps. I wanted to see if I could bring that kind of experience to a video game, where you use your imagination to bridge those gaps. It's amazing to contemplate Miyazaki's skill in crafting narratives, strategically scattering breadcrumbs for players to follow. As players delve into their journey, exploration is met with rewards. That being a deeper understanding of their overarching story. And the environmental design of the world truly helps you get an idea of what that narrative can be. Every ruin, every crumbled wall, and every scenic vista has a story to tell. The worn down structures of Lordran bear witness to the rise and fall of civilizations, while the twisted streets of Yharnam echo with the haunting memories of blood-soaked hunts. The architecture is not just a visual spectacle, it sets the tone for players' experience. Gothic cathedrals evoke a sense of foreboding in Dark Souls, while the dilapidated Gothic structures in Bloodborne immerse the players in a world gripped by bloody horror. The meticulous attention to architectural details adds authenticity and atmosphere to each location, from reoccurring symbols etched into architecture to metaphoric landscapes that mirror the emotional tone of the narrative. The environmental storytelling is layered with meaning that invites players to engage with the world on a deeper level. And don't you think I forgot about the music. The music in the Souls games is very minimal, and it works well. The overall sound design in these games contribute to the haunting atmosphere. You could walk through empty halls with echoing footsteps, or hear the distant screams of an unseen creature, but most times it will be silent. It will just be you hearing your footsteps and your armor clanking as you travel through these daunting locations. It sets the tone. These ambient sounds create an auditory landscape that deepens the sense of immersion and unease, making every step a cautious exploration, because 1 second you can be like, and then all of a sudden, the sound design is so good that it makes you feel like you just died. Speaking of dying, yeah, the games are hard. I remember getting gifted Dark Souls on the PS3 by a neighbor back in like the 5th grade, and the first thing I noticed was, this game is scary and bullshit. If you're familiar with the Soul-like genre, the games aren't exactly the easiest to beat. FromSoftware's commitment to challenging gameplay is a defining feature of the Souls games. But why is that? Well, the difficulty isn't arbitrary. It's a deliberate design choice that transforms each encounter into a trial by adversity. The combat is intense and suspenseful because every enemy is a potential threat to your goddamn health bar. But if you think about it, the challenging mechanics extend beyond mere difficulty. They demand strategic thinking and mastery of game mechanics. From precise timing and dodging to exploiting the enemy's weaknesses, players are encouraged to engage with the gameplay on a deeper level, because once you take that swing, it's life or death from there. Now, Miyazaki has stated in the past that we don't try to force difficulty or make things hard for the sake of it. We want players to use their cunning, study the game, memorize what's happening, and learn from their mistakes. We don't want players to feel like the game is unfairly punishing, but rather that there's a chance to win a difficult encounter and make progress. I just want as many players as possible to experience the joy that comes from overcoming hardship. And to some extent, he's absolutely right. The joy you feel after finally beating that one stupid boss, after failing over and over and over again, because most times in this game, you're gonna die. But in these games, failure is not a setback, but rather a lesson. Each defeat becomes an opportunity to learn, adapt, and refine strategies. The challenging nature of the gameplay amplifies the stakes, creating an environment where victory is earned and losses are hardly felt. Unless you lose all your echoes, then yeah. The emotional investment is not just in the narrative, but in the very act of overcoming challenges. Every boss battle, every narrow escape, becomes a visceral experience that resonates emotionally. Many have voiced their opinion to whether the Souls games should have a difficulty slider and let you make the game easier. Miyazaki has commented about this in the past and has stated that FromSoftware is always trying to improve their games, but hardship is what gives the games their meaning, and that is not something they're gonna abandon anytime soon. The challenging gameplay is designed to make victories hard-earned, turning each triumph into a moment of celebration. This emotional rollercoaster of struggle and triumph, combined with the immersive world, fosters a unique bond between the player and the game. The impossible obstacles you encounter in these games begin to unfold as distinct experiences throughout your playthrough. Sometimes. FromSoftware's games have garnered quite the passionate and dedicated fanbase, creating a cultural phenomenon. The term Souls-like has become synonymous within a specific style of challenging gameplay and atmospheric world building. It's actually an official tag on Steam where it inherits similar mechanics from Dark Souls. It's presented as a Souls-like game. The community surrounding FromSoftware's games has grown significantly over the recent years. With the most recent release of Elden Ring, the community has never been more active. The community always engages in discussions, explores lore within the games, and collaborates in efforts to overcome different mods and challenges. The community's enthusiasm has contributed to the longevity of most of the Souls games, fostering an environment where players continue to discover new aspects of the lore and gameplay even years after the initial release. It would be silly to say that FromSoftware has not changed how games are viewed today. The unique aesthetic and visual design of FromSoftware's games has left an undeniable mark on the gaming industry. The gothic, medieval, and Lovecraftian influences, coupled with the meticulous attention to detail, have inspired other developers to pay greater attention to the artistic aspects of game design. And this has led to the creation of more captivating and immersive game worlds. FromSoftware's Soul games like Dark Souls 1 are still important and influential even years after they first came out. The fact that they keep getting remasters and new versions shows how lasting their impact is. Demon Souls, Dark Souls, BloodBorne, Sekiro, Elden Ring, these are all games that are masterpieces in their own right. The artistry, the music, the gameplay, the difficulty, the story, the Soul games have permeated the industry, influencing other creators to push the boundaries of visual and auditory design in gaming. It is something that I can truly appreciate and respect. The broken and shattered narratives of loss, perseverance, and philosophical depth that elevated these games into more than entertainment. They are profound explorations that everybody should experience. The enduring legacy of the Soul games is not merely measured in sales figures or critical acclaim, but in the continued engagement of a passionate community and the inspiration they provide for future game developers, storytellers, and artists. As we stand on the edge of a new era, eagerly waiting for FromSoftware's next magnus opus, we carry with us the experiences of the previous games. I fucking love this shit.